Surface Book to review monster performance, but lightning hasn't struck twice. Introduced a little over 2 years ago, Microsoft's Surface Book was the hybrid laptop that I had long hoped the company would build. Like the Surface Pro, it worked as a true standalone tablet, but it had the all-important stiff hinge, making it suitable for use on your lap in a way that the Surface Pro's kickstand and type covers never really supported. The Surface Book was not just a useful form factor, it was also something of a technological showcase. Other hybrid designs I've used, such as the ThinkPad Helix, had clunky mechanical linkages between the tablet portion and the base. The Surface Book boasted a clever software-controlled system. The fulcrum hinge design, which helped keep the device balanced when the screen was open, is elegant and visually striking. And to top it all off, the Surface Book came with an optional discrete GPU, with the GPU housed not in the tablet part, but in the base. While we've seen many systems with switchable graphics using the low-power integrated GPU, unless you're playing a game or similar and need the full power of the discrete chip, having the discrete GPU be in a separate component was an exciting twist. Surface Book was an early adopter of Intel's then new Skylake chips. But a year after its launch, when most OEMs were refreshing their Skylake systems with Kaby Lake processors, Microsoft didn't. Kaby Lake offered some nice improvements in clock speeds and power efficiency, but rather than bump the Surface Book line with the new chips, Microsoft instead introduced the performance base. The tablet portion was unchanged, but the performance base had a faster discrete GPU and an enormous battery. Even when the Surface Pro 4, released concurrently with the Surface Book, was replaced by the Kaby Lake 2017 Surface Pro, the Surface Book kept its Skylake chips. While Microsoft may have skipped one cycle of processor updates, it hasn't abandoned the Surface Book, and it hasn't skipped the latest 8th generation Kaby Lake R chips. These chips double the number of cores and threads to 4 and 8 respectively, and for the right applications they can provide a hefty boost to performance. The new Surface Book 2 also includes a substantial upgrade to the optional discrete GPU from NVIDIA's 900 series in the 2015 model to a 1000 series GPU. Most significant of all, Microsoft is doubling down on Surface Book's laptop credentials with a new size. Surface Book 2 now has 2 screen options. As with the first generation, there's a 13.5-inch 3000 x 2000 display, but that is now joined by a 15-inch 3240 x 2160 screen. The 15-inch version is only available with an i7 processor and a discrete NVIDIA GTX 1060 GPU with 6 GB dedicated GDDR5 memory. The base 13.5-inch version comes with an i5 processor, a no discrete GPU, or an i7 processor and an NVIDIA GTX 1050 discrete GPU with 2 GB dedicated DDR5 memory. In almost every way, the new Surface Books look and act identical to the first-generation systems. They're just larger, in the 15-inch guise. But they retain the same hybrid identity. The screen portion contains its own battery and all the core components, and can be detached to operate as a standalone tablet. The base includes the battery, the discrete GPU, and the keyboard. The new larger screen has required some internal re-engineering of the Surface Book's hinge and latching mechanism to make them a little stiffer and stronger, but they look virtually identical. The hinge still unrolls to ensure the system remains balanced, and the latching mechanism is still a software-controlled electrically actuated thing. The review system Microsoft supplied is a top-spec 15-inch model that packs an i7 to 8550U processor, 16 GB RAM, 1 TB SSD, and a GeForce GTX 1060 GPU with 6 GB dedicated GDDR5 memory. It's a little extraordinary because of the greater portability they confer, especially in cramped situations like sitting in the back of a plane. I tend to prefer laptops around the 13-inch size. A 15-inch system feels big, but as 15-inch laptops go, the Surface Book 2 is a pretty sleek example of the type. It's a small amount heavier than the 15-inch MacBook Pro and a little thicker at the hinge end. But overall, this is a very respectable device, size-wise. Still, tearing that screen off and using it as a tablet feels very strange. 15 inches is truly an enormous screen for a tablet. This is a monster tablet. Yet every time I pick it up, it surprises me. The tablet weighs 0.8 kilograms, 1.8 pounds, and, for something with such a large screen, that feels very light. It's thin, at about 8 millimeters, 0.3 inches, but yet it packs in an i7 processor, RAM, storage, and a battery. The touchscreen is up to Microsoft's usual high standards. It's sensitive, its parallax error is on it. With each iteration of Surface, Microsoft has made the entire screen and touch sensor assembly thinner to ensure that the pen tip is closer to the actual pixels, and Surface Book